Welcome back to the Nose Plays Endless Space 2, continuing part 5 in our series with the Vaulters and the new Penumbra DLC. We got a lot to get done today, and I don't know how much time we have to do it, but we're going to give it a shot anyways. But before we do that, I wanted to just take a moment to gaze at our home planet, or at least our current home planet. Seems that our faction has had many home planets over the years. This is the one we call home currently. Also, neat little trick if you've never investigated some of the deeper parts of the UI. If you press spacebar, there's this neat little informational page. It just looks cool. As far as I can tell, there's absolutely no useful information on this page, but it's kind of a neat little effect that they added in there. Anyways, pressing spacebar again, we're back on our home system, and we've got a lot of stuff going on. One thing that I went ahead and did is I went ahead and added spin projects to all of our planets, because our population is getting to the point where we have population on all of our planets. It's at the end of the queue, so it's not something that's super critical to getting done right this second. But I will show you why I went ahead and added that right now. So I want you to notice a couple of things about our influence bubbles. First of all, the influence bubble of our home system is obviously larger than the other two systems. And that's for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's been around longer. So every turn, any influence that your system outputs contributes to a pool, and as that pool fills up, it'll reach a certain point and it will cause this ring to grow. And then you will need more influence, and then the ring will grow again. And then more influence, and the ring will grow again. And so it's kind of like a tiered system. As you fill one pool, the ring grows, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. One of the ways that we can increase our influence output on our system is by running spin projects. It not only gives us more influence to spend on influency stuff, which is really good, since we have a lot of stuff that we want to spend it on, it also helps us capture, so to speak, these other nearby nodes. And one of the things that I'd really like to do is capture this node. You might recognize this as our starting node. And if you mouse over it, you can see that it gives the effect of plus 25 dust once our bubble, which you can kind of see there flashing intermittently about every 10 seconds or so. I think that flash kind of represents where the next tier of growth is. I don't think that it's necessarily the amount that we're going to grow next turn, but it's the next amount of growth. So when we get enough influence banked to fill that pool, we'll grow to that distance. Maybe we'll come back to this view and watch as we end the turn and see if it actually does grow that exact amount. Because maybe we're gaining enough influence to actually grow that much. That would be cool. But either way, I want to grow a little bit faster so that we can grab this. That will help with our dust a little bit. It's unlikely that we'll ever grow enough influence to grab this system. There are factions that can do that, that can get their bubbles so huge that they can grab systems that are quite far away. But we're not really going to be one of them. But grabbing this is worthwhile, and having the influence to use for other things is also worthwhile. So that's why I went ahead and did that. If we put spin projects on our other systems, as their populations increased, their growth would also increase, as would their borders, so to speak. So we ended the turn, and a number of my viewers have talked about the optimal situation with these pirates. And I completely agree with their assessment of this particular game and what would have been better. I am completely of the mind that in this particular circumstance, where we are basically the sole owner of half of this constellation, the Umbral Choir is somewhere over here planting sleeper cells or whatever, sanctuary cities. But they're not interacting with these guys at all, which means all of their attention is directed at us. And I'm almost certain that the reason that our dust keeps going negative every other turn, and then it comes back to positive, and then it goes back to negative, is due to these guys hacking our systems. I think that that's a big part of it. Obviously, these guys are hacking us. The Umbral Choir have hacked us as well. I think that all of that is contributing, but I think that the pirate hack in particular, one of the things that it does...
Change your mind?
And I don't know this for certain, but I'm fairly confident that this is the case. Each time they successfully hack us, they get a bunch of our dust for a few turns. And that dust contributes to this pool. Now, I don't know that that is actually the case. That's only my suspicion. But what I noticed is that this bar is growing at a rate that is atypical of pirates that I've played with in the past. And I'm not certain if that's just because I've set the pirates to hard difficulty on this particular playthrough, and I'm used to just playing on normal difficulty where this doesn't really happen this much, or if it is related to the hacking system. Because clearly when they hack your system, they're doing something, and I haven't gotten any clear idea from reading forums and patch notes and whatnot exactly what that is. But my suspicion is that it has to do with them siphoning dust off of our system and potentially putting it into this pool to make their fleets better. I'm fairly confident that is actually what's happening. But I have no proof. It's just a hunch. One thing I would like to find out is if we do manage to push this up or get a non-aggression pact, does that mean that they will stop hacking our systems? Because it doesn't say anything about hacking here. They won't attack you. You can't be the target of a pirate mark, and you can use their portals. That's all good and well, but can they still hack us, and will they still hack us? Those are two questions that I would like to have answered. Also, we still want to try to cross this line. What I have discovered, and what may be the case, is that because the pirates are on hard difficulty, the amount that this drops every turn is maybe higher than it would be on normal. And because of that, we're having a very hard time, just because of the length of time of our hacks, of actually making any progress on this particular endeavor. I think under normal difficulty, it might be easier to do, and maybe why in some of my earlier playthroughs I felt like this was a more viable tactic. So with normal pirates, it might be more viable to use the doctor their logs hack to actually get your approval higher with them. What I've decided, at least at hard difficulty, is that while that may not be the best way to push their standing up this ladder, what it has been really good at is keeping us from falling all the way down. And so we've been able to maintain our status by using the falsify logs hack over and over again. So if you perhaps focus on dust in the early game and maybe not use all your dust for settling the Argosy early, which I think is a debatable decision, or just find ways to get your economy rolling a little faster than I have, you can use the other option where you can support the pirates at half the cost in the early game, and then build this up to where you cross the line, and then use the falsify logs to keep yourself up in this region where they're no longer attacking you as aggressively, or maybe at all. I'm not really sure. I haven't really gotten up here very often in my gameplay, just because my economy struggles so much since I focus so much dust into early Argosy settlements. I just don't have the extra resources to do this very frequently until very late game, at which point pirates are kind of irrelevant, especially if you're playing on normal difficulty. On hard difficulty, it's definitely a little more challenging, and on endless difficulty, the early game in particular is a lot more challenging because of how much better their fleets are and how much more aggressive they are. But falsify logs, as we've seen, is good at maintaining a standing, but not really improving a standing. So keep that in the back of your mind as we continue this game. We got a few things to do with our ships. I got to decide, are we... I think we're going to wait for the rest of our fleet to get over here. I have 2... 3, 4... Okay, I need to drop one of these. And we'll talk about why in a little bit. But I need exactly 4 ships in my flotilla. Because this ship is actually going to fill the other 3 slots. So we are going to build one of these as soon as we get this queued up. That will be queued up. As soon as we get this research, we're going to queue this up in 5 turns. Maybe a little less. But we'll see. So I think for now, we're just going to leave my ships here, and we'll just put them into defense mode. We can't be attacked while we're on our system unless they declare war with us, which they're not likely to do. It seems like they're hellbent on dealing with these pirates, which at this point are not really softening up very quickly because they do not have any kind of dedicated siege ships. So they have 4 command points worth of ships here. You can see the 2 and 2. And then you multiply that by 2, and that's where you get the -8 per turn. So the number of command points, only counting ships that actually have offensive modules. You got to have at least 1 gun in order to be part of that count. Doubled is your siege damage per turn, unless you have specialized siege modules. Okie dokie. What else do we need to talk about? Anything? Argosy is still several turns away from being able to get anywhere near this. Yeah, I think we pretty much wrapped up this turn, so let's go ahead and... Oh! Resource crisis next turn. Your empire... Exceed your stocks. Okay, so we need to look at our hacking. What are we doing here? So what's going on here? Something is happening that's causing our allotment to be above our total? It says we have 3 things running. Encryption. Excuse me. Lockdown and lockdown. Okay. So let's go ahead and end lockdown over here for now. Can we run encryption over here? Does encryption cost more than lockdown? Lockdown costs 20. Encryption only costs 15. So we can still run encryption over here and be fine. But something is causing our bandwidth to push above 70, or is going to during this next turn. It may be related to a defensive program running on this system, but I'm not really sure. So alright, we got botanical scanning. I'm not super familiar. Okay, botanical scanning is the tier 2 food research. This is okay. We definitely could use it. Food is less useful to the vaulters than other things can be. It's kind of a toss-up. I have played around with food on the vaulters quite a bit. And one of the things, because they have that huge penalty to food, it's difficult to want to invest too much into it. But at the same time, if you don't invest into it, you just don't grow very much. At the moment, I feel like our growth has been pretty reasonable. Although we do have some systems that aren't quite as food abundant, let's say, as our home system was, and we have moved a lot of people off of food producing planets and onto the ash planets that are more industry focused. So this is actually probably a good time for this. Unfortunately, it's pushed this back a turn. We were at 5 turns last turn, and because this tech was acquired, the cost of this has increased slightly. So each tech that you get increases the cost of future techs slightly, and so it's important not to grab techs that you do not need. Free techs are usually a welcome thing, but occasionally you can get something really crummy that's just not very useful to you at all, and it makes everything that you purchase down the road more expensive. And so there is a reason to not take free techs on occasion. I think it's rarely the case that a free tech is completely worthless, but it does happen, especially in the later game. So
I greet you in the name of the 4 families.
where... Oh, interesting. Well, I don't really like the idea that the Lumeris are over here. I'm not sure that I want to be aggressive with them. We're already planning on being aggressive with the Hishu very soon.
Sometimes it's hard to tell your friends from your enemies, isn't it?
Peace might be a stretch right now, because I really need to start banking influence.
Oh.
Ugh. They want a bunch of Hyperium. Now that's not going to happen. They're willing to pay a lot of dust for it, though.
Mm-hmm.
If I take that off, would they do it for 6 titanium? No. Okay, well, we'll just skip that for now. I'm not going to actually attack them this turn, even though I think we could. If anything, we will let the Hishu attack them, perhaps. This is just a caravel, right? Yeah. We'll let the Hishu attack them, and maybe make an ally in the process. The Lumeris tend to make reasonably good allies, especially if you plan on getting trade routes, which we just did. Where was this at? Okay. Let's talk to these guys. These are warmongers and stalwart stoics. Plus a bunch of approval on crappy planets. We're not going to be praising them at this point, but I am going to go ahead and send out a probe that direction. And then let's see if we can't find... There's one way over here. I don't know if we'll be able to reach it, but we might reach something close to it that we can then jump on. And then we'll just kind of hang out here for a second. We're going to pass on that ship's turn. We do have a bunch of these over here. I don't really want to attack the pirates right this second. Let's see where we're at with this. Still over 3,000 dust, and now we're just hemorrhaging dust. You saw, like, a couple turns ago, this was at minus 14, and, like, literally nothing has changed. Like, we haven't gotten anything really completed. Man, allergy season. I tell you what, it starts earlier every year, it seems like. All that global warming, right? Okay. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why my dust literally just tanked by another 40-some points, because nothing was constructed. All 3 of these things were still in the queue, I'm pretty sure, last turn. So we didn't construct anything. We didn't build any new ships. Nothing's changed. The only thing that could possibly be going on is hacks that we're not aware of. This is still running. So we're clearly removing sleepers. I have no idea how many we've actually removed. And I'm not even sure where that would show up. So that's kind of frustrating. I really have no grasp of what's going on with my economy. We'll just continue to blockade. We're going to have to sell some goods here pretty soon. And I've forgotten to look at our influence bubble the last few times, but maybe I'll remember this time. This is actually good timing. So remember we talked about never grabbing the second point in this. That's still true today. There's no good reason to grab that point. If you're going to grab anything, grab 2 points in this, and if you still need approval, then maybe, but there's a lot of better skills. 15% science would be helpful. Food and industry would also be helpful. She's on a planet with a fair amount of population at this point, so this actually has some value. So does this, and we do have 2 hot systems in our home system, maybe even 3. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. That's more industry, and that's going to get our ships built a little bit faster. 2, yeah. But now she's producing 70 industry and 60 food from those 2 abilities that we've invested double points into. So not bad. Not bad at all. We'll have the fairing and the radar completed shortly. We're still 3 turns away from that. Maybe we can get a couple of these done. Yeah, that'll work. So we'll get all of the spin projects finished right around the time that we get this done, and we can put that ship in the queue. And then we have this guy to build afterwards. We also got these 2 buildings, which we're going to probably throw in the queue at some point, but they're not priorities right this second. And we're just trying to get this counter downer down low enough to actually do something with it. We do have big stockpiles of luxuries. And one other thing that I'm not sure that we've looked at recently is system development level 3, which we really want to get down soon. Did we put down trade company yet? Okay, so the trade company just got completed. Now we need to build the trade subsidiary, and we can get that done in 3 turns if we rush it. We don't really need the miners union up right away. It's good, but it's not good enough to worry about. This system's still ecstatic, so I really don't care about where the population are on these 2 planets. I actually would prefer them on this planet, and we want to make sure that any of these guys, the Kelgaroos that get born, do not end up over on these other systems. But yeah, the trade company, once this gets down, our dust problems will not be gone, but they will slowly disappear over time as our trade route gets better and better. Getting down to Pisces will really help too. Alright, we do have a star lane we could travel. I didn't even see that this was a star lane until just now, so we probably should have started down there earlier. Good thing that we are masked. This one is the quest curiosity, so we'll grab it first. And there's a whole bunch of other curiosities here. Also, Auriga. We found Auriga. Okay. A medium ice with the husk of knowledge. We got a huge ocean planet, small steppe, small tundra, and a medium barren. A lot of curiosities here. I'm debating what to do. Since we're out of movement, I don't have to really make a decision as to whether to go down this lane or not. We're going to wait a turn regardless. So we'll just put him in quiet mode for a little while. Search curiosity on the planet Ariga if you're ready to sacrifice 10 Hyperium. I'd rather not. But I guess we will since we have a lot of it. Show location. Yeah, we know where Ariga is. Alright. Ariga. This is a thing that happens whenever you find Ariga. -5 approval on all systems won't really impact us, at least in the short term. As our golden ages start to fall off, this might start to hurt a little bit more, but we're about to put a new one down, so I'm not too worried about it. The plus 20 science actually is really, really powerful later in the game when you have more systems. And so we're actually getting 60 science from this right now because we have 3 systems already down. 4 systems actually, I think, already down, and we're working on our 5th. So we're actually getting 80. And the longer it takes you to find Ariga, the more powerful this becomes in terms of science. Although it is a flat boost, so at some point 80 science is kind of diminishing returns when you're in the thousands if you wait too long to find it. But there is a cool point at the game where if you find this at the right time, it can really boost your science and get a couple of turns off. So we'll see what happens here. I'm not sure if it's being applied to this yet. But that's cool. We need to know where that is for our quest line. It is kind of far away from us, but not too bad. And this should go down to 2 turns. If it goes down to 1, we'll know why. Another thing that we're going to have to do at this point, I think, is we're going to have to go ahead and cancel the Dirty Hands Act. This is going to give us some influence every turn, and eventually enough influence to actually do something with the pirates. We want to make sure that we maybe look at doing this before we drop the Argosy, because if we put this system down, we're going to increase the cost of everything on this list.
What you need.
And this will probably go up to 700 at that point, which is not cool, because I won't have 700 anytime quick. Alright, we got one of our ships made, so we can go ahead and get him out and get him over here in 2 turns. We want to build 2 ships with a lot of offense. This does kind of fall in line with what we're trying to do, with the problem being that I don't know that we even have the modules to get a ship up to that level of offense. Yeah, we're at like 297 with pretty much the best weapons that we have available to us. That might not be the quest we take. The Hyperion would be nice, but this is actually probably easier to do. And this would be easy to do. Actually, this would be incredibly easy to do. And titanium is less valuable than Hyperium at the moment. The dust is actually pretty useful, but I don't know how quickly I can make this happen. Our industry is pretty much maxed out at the moment, and we don't really have an easy way to increase it, or have a very easy way to increase above 174 dust. So we'll take the easy quest for now. In fact, one of the things that we need to do is sell some titanium anyways. So if we go to the marketplace and I sold 30 titanium, I would get 900 dust and finish the quest and get that same 30 titanium right back. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. We finished our hack of the pirates. Once again, we're going to falsify logs one more time. I could eavesdrop and try to lower diplomacy costs, but we, again, don't really have the resources to do that. And I think...
Ooh, I'm sure we have what you
we're
need.
right at the line. Okay. Well, yeah, this is just not a very efficient way of getting ground. Like, we are making ground, but how many times have we done this now? It's just not incredibly efficient. Alright, let's go ahead and hack them again. Clearly this next one should be the one that puts us over the line. One would hope. I can run an accelerator here, and that might help as well. Anything we can do to speed up the number of turns that this takes. Alright. Back to it. We did not lose an extra turn from our extra science output, so that's fine. This is still going to finish in 2 turns, and that will help get this 25 free dust. We got more probes. We got 1 probe. Ooh, and the Vodiani are over here. This is actually quite an interesting system, and so is having the Academy. And the Mavros are actually, we are going to be across the line, so we are going to be able to try and do a quest for them. I really want to just sit here, but I think what we're going to do, we're going to grab one of these, the ocean one, because this is probably the planet that we set up shop on if we do colonize this with the Argosy. And then we're going to head on down here and just make sure... Okay. I'm not going to put any of my influence in anything in the short term. We may need to come take Scorpius. Auriga's here. We have a good ocean planet. So then the real question is, how fast can the Argosy get there? Because if it's like 5 turns... Yeah, it's like 8. That would be a free settle, but there's no guarantee that we can set up there. They do have, the Vidyani do have an arc over there, though. Oh, I don't want to lose the Argosy to anybody. Or not the Argosy, Auriga. But I think we're going to take this and make that our next potential settle. We are kind of running out of good systems in this region to even bother with. I don't think Edsira is even worth taking. These systems I don't want anything to do with because they're all Umbral Choir systems. But that might be far enough away from the Umbral Choir that we could get away with it. And there are a couple of other ones over here that would make sense for us to grab. If we can get this system and this system, this one through a quest and this one through the Argosy's next colonization, I think that is what we do. We're down to 2,500. We're losing 50 dust a turn, but I have tons and tons of resources stockpiled at this point. So the question is, do we just sell them? And I think the answer is yes. We don't really need the Eden incense. Can sell that. Don't need that. We could easily sell like 100 of this. We could sell even more. We really only need 20 of it. If I sold 80 more. What if I sold 80 more? What would I get for that? 500 dust? Our economy isn't as bad as it looks, mainly because we have such good stockpiles of everything. I do want to start stockpiling these as much as possible because we are going to start using those very, very soon. In a real big way. And we're going to need a lot of them. This is going to allow me to go ahead and drop this turn. It is going to take almost all of my dust to do so, but I'm not too worried about it because, again, we can sell lots of stuff in the marketplace if we have to. And we have trade routes going down, which is only going to make this easier. So now let's make sure we do the right thing this time. Which one of these planets is the best choice? It is going to be the Mediterranean. It does have an anomaly which makes this a potentially good reason to move our hero over here. It's also hot, so this is definitely a good reason to move our hero over here. So our hero is going to provide 10 for this, 20 for the system from the ability we doubled up, 20 additional for the hot planet. Yeah, this is actually a really good opportunity to move our hero over. Now, before I do move her over, let's just make sure he's 1 turn from finishing a radar and a couple of these. We could get the XP from that, but I would rather just have the XP from all this stuff. So we're just going to go ahead and move her over right now. And we can see 20 food and 50 industry. This is, yeah. This is why I really like her as a hero that can jumpstart a system. If you do happen to have a good hot planet, even a hot fertile like a jungle, even better. But yeah, she's going to be able to get this system off the ground incredibly quickly. So let's go ahead and build those 2 things, and then let's get this, and let's get that, and let's put this at the top. And whoa, wait a second. We sold all of our Jadonics? I thought I set that to 80. You guys saw me set that to 80, right? Okay, I am not worried about this, and here's why. We are going to mine 19 in 1 turn. I could actually buy all 20 for 200 dust. Yeah, we're gonna fix this. So there used to be, and it may still be here, there used to be a bug where you would change this number, but it wouldn't actually register that it changed when you typed it in sometimes. And I think maybe that's what happened. If we saw like 3 of this and 6 of that, and then we buy 20 of this, now we can do this. That was my mistake. I should have paid more attention to what I was typing. But everything is forgiven. Our economy is fantastic because we spent so much time focusing on having resources. And so while our dust has been negative for a lot of this game, it hasn't really been negative if you count all of the money we can make from selling stuff. Okay, once these buildings are down, these planets become really, really valuable. So we want to get that one down and that one down pretty quickly after that. And that's enough for now. She's going to take a while to get that system off the ground, but not too awful long, as you will see, because of the Golden Age, the 50 industry she's providing, the 60 industry that this will be providing. It's going to go rather quickly. And I'm feeling pretty good about things again. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So we are closer than we were. You can see where it's kind of like to right here is where that's blinking. So when I end the turn, let's see if we actually grow that much. It did grow. I can't say that it actually grew as much as it's flashing, but it did grow. So, alright, we'll come back to that in a second. I want to take a look here and see this system already, like, it's been up for 1 turn. 1 turn, and we have 166 industry. Now keep in mind, some of this is going to fall off. But most of it is actually going to stay on. The 25 bonus industry from the Golden Age will not stick around. That still means we're like at 140 industries, something like that. We have 1 population and 1 system development down. That is ridiculous. Very, very happy with this system already. That is how you use our hero, and that is probably what we should have done over here if we had thought about it a little longer. I did choose to go ahead and take the XP buff that we were rolling from that quest and try to get as much out of it as we could, but we can merge these guys up, and we almost have our first official military fleet. Pirates are just cranking out ships, but that's fine. Pretty soon they won't be bothering us anymore, right? I am building the influence because we're not running any laws to get to the pirates. Alright, so now let's come back over here because we're building good stockpiles of both of these now, and I want to start utilizing them. And the way we're going to utilize them is advanced system development, tier 3 upgrade, and we're going to use titanium, and we're going to use hyperium. It's fairly expensive, but with our mining tech, we're going to be able to get these pretty quickly. And I think we're actually going to pick up some new mining tech right here, which increases the resource generation on strategics by another 2. So we already have the primary mining down. This will actually increase it some more. And we need this tech anyways for the gas planets that we have picked up. Also, the ability to mine antimatter is really important at some point in the game. Lava colonization is also important, as is this building, which is incredibly important. I'm not sure which one of these I want to get done first, in all honesty. But I know I want to get both of them done. We have quite a few hot planets in our system, and our home system has 2 hot planets with a fair amount of population on them. This is plus 10 industry per population pip on those. And so this is going to turn those into very, very good military generating systems or wonder generating systems. Anything that we want to build gets done faster. So we're going to grab both of those techs and rush to this. I think we're going to go this route because I'm going to try to get this mining tech down quickly. And then we may pick up some of this other stuff, but we'll probably deviate from this part of the tree after we get these done and look back over some of the other techs trees that we still need. In fact, we still need one more tech from this part of the tree to unlock uncommon curiosities. So that's probably where we're going next. Although, because it's so quick to get done, maybe it's what we do right now. Steps and arid. We don't have a lot of anomalies. I think we're just going to go. This is only going to take 5 turns. 5 turns is a reasonable wait. And I think we have more than 5 turns worth of stuff to build on most of our systems anyways. So, plus we got a ship to build. We want to look at this ship. We just got this tech. And I'm just going to pull everything off of it. We're not going to use this default design. This is a shot class, so this is the heaviest medium projectile. All of our ships are named after projectiles, if you haven't noticed. Medium class ships means that all of our modules count as double, so the cost is doubled, but generally speaking, the effect is also doubled. There are a few exceptions to this. But you'll just have to plug them in to see for sure whether that is the case or not. Coordinator class ships are important. They primarily attack the attacker and hunter class ships, so that's what they will target. Secondary targets will include protector and coordinator class ships. I don't know what the split is on this. I don't know if it's like 75-25 or what, or 60-30 or 60-40, whatever. But it will primarily attack the primary targets, and so knowing that when you build your fleets is kind of important. The Guardian ability attracts fire from enemy to protect other ships. This is the ability I was talking about that can protect our more fragile Dark class ships, since they're not quite as tough as the military version of those ships. They do have the same amount of firepower, kind of, because they have the same number of gun slots. But they don't have as many hit points, and they don't have some of the offensive boosts that the military grade ships enjoy. So this will help by having this big ship in front of them, keep them alive a little bit longer, at the risk of losing this ship. These ships tend to die quite frequently because they absorb a lot of fire. And then they have a bonus to plating and shielding. So let's talk about how we want to kit this guy out. The main thing that this ship needs to do is survive enemy attacks. And so there's a couple of ways that we can help this ship do that. The primary way is using improved slugs. This gives us a reasonable amount of damage, particularly at close ranges, but it also gives us good flat cannons to shoot down enemy missiles with. So we're going to have to run at least one of these, and maybe more than one. Another way we could make this a little bit more defensive is by putting 2 of these on here, which gives us more flat cannons and more abilities to shoot down missiles. I think that's going to become really important, and so I actually really want to do this. I need to jump out of the screen for a second because I want to verify the movement of our current fleet is 3 of 7. So all of our ships currently have a move of 7, and if we look at these, they are running the ram scoop? Yes. Okay. So the Drakar's going to need to grab the ram scoop. Oh, we need to pull all these off again. Okay. We're going to go ahead and put in 2 of these. We're going to grab 1 ram scoop engine in one of our support only spots. That's going to give us up to a movement of 5. We need a little bit more movement. And one of the things we could do to facilitate that is actually this module, but we would have to run... I'm not sure how those would stack. I think we would need to at least match the speed of the other fleets, the other ships in the fleet. So we're gonna have to run 2 ram scoops. That's gonna put us over. But that's fine. Another thing to keep in mind, this ship has 300 manpower and a lot more hit points than most other ships of this size. I shouldn't say a lot, but more hit points than a typical medium class ship. The attacker class ship doesn't get this many. What else do I want to do? We've got 3 defensive slots. I could give this thing a lot more hit points by doing something like that. Just straight up give it tons of hit points and forget the shields. I don't think laser weapons are going to be that effective against us. If they're bringing a lot of laser weapons, all the missiles that we're bringing with this fleet are going to just mow those things down. So then we have 1 slot left for a support module, and I have a couple of options with that. I could go with a repair module, which is helpful. I could go with a manpower module, which just gives us more manpower. I could go with the science module, which gives us a bunch of science as we destroy enemy fleets. Kinetic enhancer would be okay. But I think what I'm actually going to go for is the titanium slugs. And the reason that we're going to grab this is because it's actually going to be double the effect. So this is actually 14. Now, interestingly enough, we can actually replace one of our 2 defensive modules with a second one. And now that's going to give us 28 per turn that we're removing from the enemy fleet, on top of the 3 command points, which is worth 6. So that's over 30 points that we would be reducing enemy systems defensives totals by their manpower. I think that's the way to go. And then we'll be able to burn down systems a little quicker. So we're going to apply that, and then we're going to build one. And hopefully it's not going to take too many turns. Only 4 turns. So 4 turns, and then our military is off the ground and ready to wreak some havoc on Pisces, which we're going to take by force, netting us some more Hyperium and Titanium, which we will then use to settle Scorpius and Ariga. And then we'll decide whether we want to truce out with these guys and come back and wipe out these pirates, or if we're going to continue to try to pursue peace with them. We're at least going to try to pursue peace so we can finish the quest, but how long we keep it, I haven't really figured out yet. We need to do some population management over here. So this system is not particularly happy, and there's not much we can do to make it happy, is there? Yeah, there's just nothing I can really do at the moment. I also do not have any happiness buildings. We don't have any luxury resources over here, so that's not worth building. The food buildings would make population grow faster, which isn't really all that helpful on a system that is already struggling to manage its current population. So I think we're just going to ignore this system for the time being. Actually, coming back here, we do have quite a few population over here, so spin projects is probably worth getting done. And it's not going to take very long. We found a curiosity. I did not really think grabbing these guys was that beneficial because of our food penalties. So we'll search this before we do any... We're not going to do any praising of them. If we wanted to praise them, we would want to do that before we actually scouted the curiosities, because the cost goes up. And you want to pay as little influence as possible to get these guys to join your empires. We're just a few short turns away from actually being able to do something with our military, which is kind of exciting. And maybe another 10 turns before we actually snag this, which is also exciting. This will be done next turn, and we can talk a little bit about trade routes. And we're still only one away from finishing this quest, which I believe gives us a hero. Let's kind of look around here. It looks like there's one over here. And then there's one down here. So we'll definitely be able to pick up one of these two with this guy, and we'll finish that quest. I don't know that this had a timer. It doesn't appear to. So we don't have to worry about taking too long to get it done, which is good. That little scout has been quite handy. In fact, he may end up going all the way around the galaxy, quite literally, before this is all said and done. Okay, end the turn. Try to get somewhere around turn 50 tonight before we call it quits. Okay. So a couple of things. Extra population on Aurum is probably not that exciting, and the Ecologist Party is not a very exciting party for us. However, the approval may actually prove useful at the moment, and military political ideology would also be very beneficial, since we're about to engage in some military anyways. This might actually get the militarists back into our party, which would be helpful. So I'm going to go with this. And I want to come back here just a second and talk about the Vaulters and their political influence. You can see that Vaulters make up the large majority of our empire. We have a total of 29 population pips, and more than half of them, 16, are Vaulters. What that means is that a lot of the political influence that's going on is dealing with this wheel. And so whenever a political action happens, whenever anything happens really, depending on what faction it's related to, um, a drop will go in the bucket of that particular political ideology's influence over a system. The neat thing about the Vaulters is we can basically go whole hog into military. We can do just nothing but military. And because every military action also puts some equal amount of support into the scientist part of the party, we almost never lose the scientists when we do that. So if we go really heavy into militarists, we will maintain scientists because scientists provide bonus. You can see the size of this is bigger. We get more scientists for every drop or every action that happens than you would normally get. And for every military action, we get an equal amount of science. Influence, approval. I don't know the right word for this. I'm stumbling here. But the point is, we can focus on military and not lose the scientist party, which I think is good for us. Also, I have some dark glitter. We could pop this, and this does provide approval and a fair amount of science, but it will increase the odds that these guys get chosen when new population is born. And I don't know that I really want to do that. I really want to focus on getting Vaulters right now. Pirates have destroyed a... Okay, so the pirates ran into one of those guys that was heading back to our systems, trying to make a home in our empire. Nerid has been compromised. Okay, so I want you to pay attention. We've just been compromised by a hack. We don't know exactly where it was from, because it's not showing a trace. But we've been compromised by a hack. Notice our dust is back to positive. I have a feeling that next turn it's going to go negative. We lost a Harishim? Where is this at? Our food is negative. Why is our food so bad? Just because of consumption? That seems a little odd. We can go ahead and move some of our population back over here to food. That is interesting. Are we still it's showing up as still negative. Alright, well, maybe some food buildings are in order over here. This would be a good way to get the food situation back under control. It's showing that we're going to lose this guy. I have a feeling that this is related to hacking actions as well. I don't know what's going on there. That certainly wasn't what was happening a turn ago. Alright, we did get our trade subsidiary down, so we're going to take a look at that. And the way that trades work, to the best of my knowledge, and that is not very good, is that you build your trade headquarters, and then you build a subsidiary. And it draws a line between the two along star lanes, and it will also use wormholes, but it won't use open space. And then all of the resources that it passes through on the way to those, as well as the neighboring systems. So we're actually getting some benefit from this, although I don't know how much because we don't actually own it. But neighboring systems also count. Once we learn wormhole tech, Hoth will also kind of count towards what Lakim gets. And so we could build an interesting little trade route going like this way, and then we can build another one maybe down here in Pisces when we get our second subsidiary. So you start with one subsidiary, and then you get to build like tentacles out from your headquarter. And so we'll get a second one that we can maybe build down to Arcturus at some point, and a third one that we could build all the way down to Pisces on this chain. And I think you can get as many as like 6 per headquarters, and you can actually get more headquarters as well. So we'll investigate that a little bit later on, but we want to start pouring money into these things to make them profitable. This might be a good time to say hello to the Hishu again. So this will be our first true military test. They have a single ship with 100 offensive power. They are using short-range guns. We can tell that from the range of the weapons being 10, 50, 85. We don't want to engage at short range. We'll engage at long range, and we definitely want to jump into our battle cards and see if we have some better battle cards we could pick. Being at long range initially means that their ship is going to do next to 0 damage because long range guns are just bad. Ours are going to be pretty bad too, but they're better than their guns. And also we have missiles, and while their guns will shoot down a bunch of our missiles, we might get a few of them through. And so I want to watch and see how effective this actually is. And they're trying to charge us, which is what I would do if I was running exclusively guns as well. Let's go to the overview camera. And I like to be free camera, but just barely. You can kind of see everything here. Okay. Let's speed this up just a little bit, shall we? There goes the missiles. And you can see that their guns were not capable of shooting all of those missiles down. So, very, very effective. We took a very small, little teeny bit of damage, but not even enough to notice on our card. And they died with the first barrage. That is exactly what we had hoped and planned to have happen. Do we need to do anything here? Yes. We don't want all of our population spread out like this. Where do we want all of our population? Somewhere with lots of food and lots of industry. I could put them all over here for the 8 industry, but this one actually is producing a little bit of science with just 1 point difference in industry. So I think what we're going to do is move everybody over here, especially since we're below the threshold for disapproval. And we'll just have to keep checking on this, because as these get colonized, it's going to pull people over here as well. We actually don't need that any longer. And we'll wait till this system grows a little bit before we specialize with the spin projects. I almost said sim something. Alright, our scout ship has encountered some Vodiani. Let's take a look at their stats. What are they looking at? Oh, their ships look really weak. This is an exploration ship, so I'm not surprised. And it is running beam weapons. Our ship would not be very effective against that if we got in a fight, as I believe we're just running straight guns. So let's just search a curiosity and get out of here. What is the most likely planet that we would want to take? Well, let's just look at curiosity. So subterranean, life form, subterranean life form, and atmospheric. Are any of these higher level than level 1? These are all level 1 curiosities? Wow. We could gain a lot of experience by just sitting here and scouting these, but they're going to be scouting them as well, I would imagine.
Feel free to anger us.
Okay,
Feel free also to suffer Tornazi's
the
wrath.
Yishu did not like the fact that we attacked them. We are not going to stop attacking them, so we're going to refuse. Because we plan on not only attacking
Feel
their
free
ships,
to anger us.
but also invading their systems. Now, because of that, we actually triggered an effect for the next 10 turns where they're going to get more population allocated to their defense on this system. And I don't have any way of knowing until my ships get over there what their defenses really look like. Except, I might be able to see if our probe gets over there. We're going to go ahead and launch probes down both lanes continuously from now on. We're still 4 turns away from getting this done. A big part of the reason that that happened is because I moved everybody off of these other worlds to get our food thing under control, but I think this has to do with sleepers, so I'm actually going to go ahead and run this. And I think we're going to move a couple of these guys back over here. That's probably good. Yeah, I think that somebody's grabbing sleepers off us or something. I don't know. That's really weird, whatever's going on with that. Again, there's all the kinds of weird stuff going on, and I think a lot of it is related to the hacking system.
For to die stabbing each other.
It says that there's something
Know
here,
that I like this word.
but I don't see it. So I'm not sure what that's about.
From you, I prefer silence.
It's going to cost us 275 to declare war, and we're not actually going to declare war on them. We're going to blockade their system and see if they'll declare war on us, or at least close borders. If they end up closing borders on us, then we'll probably have to declare war. I'm just going to sleep for a turn. We're going to try and grab some of these. Do I have any movement left? I do have 4 movement left. Let's just keep moving. We'll try to come back and grab these as our probes come off cooldown. If they're still around. I want to get as much scouting done, and I also want to get that quest done, which I think we're heading towards one of the quest markers. Alright, objective achieved. We got the 30 titanium because we finally got our dust under control for a moment. Buying out all that dust actually didn't give me the titanium like I thought it would. We had to actually get our production up. Possess 7 strategic deposits. We're likely to grab another one of these soon. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one. What's the reward for this? It's not a reward I care about, but it's going to probably happen. Okay, the bonus experience is now gone on our hero, but we already moved her off of that planet. Oh, interesting. I need to take a look at this quest for a second, because we are going to get an ecologist hero if we complete this quest. So we don't want to pick up an ecologist hero if we don't really need something that they offer. What I would like, however, to pick up is a militarist hero, because it is a real possibility that we might be able to get some militarists in the government here soon. And so I'm going to go ahead and take Rilkata. Rilkata is a guardian, and she has some good stuff. We might make her a fleet captain. She would be pretty good as a fleet captain for the ships that we have right here on our home system. Or not our home system, but just off of our home system. So let's take a look at Rilkata. Being a Vaulter, She does have the all-important resource scrounger ability, but this only works if you put her down as a governor. So maybe we grab something else. Plus fleet movement wouldn't be bad. Health on fleet is also not bad. And XP per turn on fleet is actually pretty decent in the early game. If you plan on having a fleet around for a long time, putting this on it, on a hero, and then keeping that ship around, you can get up to 8 XP per turn, which can level up your ships and really make them efficient. Where we only have 1 point, I think this actually is the ability I'm going to go with. And the reason I'm going to go with this one is because we already know that our ships have less hit points than the other military class ships. This will help offset that slightly and give us just a little bit more health to maybe survive long enough to win some fights without taking too many casualties. It's also going to give our big defensive blocker ship a little bit more health. And actually a fair amount of health because of how much it starts with. So that's what we're going to do with that. And then we're going to assign her to this fleet. Now because we're in home territory still, we can go ahead and edit her ship, which we will do. And for the moment, she's got 2 defensive modules that can't have anything else. I'm just going to give her straight up health. We've got 4 offensive modules, which is actually pretty good. And we need to get her movement up to 7. And that's only going to be 5, so we're going to have to do the double engines to get her high enough. These cost 50. These only cost 30. I guess we really don't need double ram scoop engines. Alright, and then weapon-wise, what are we going to do? Probably 2 guns and 2 missiles? Yeah, we'll kind of switch it up so we have 1 of each firing in every direction. Anything else that we need to do for her? I don't think so. That's pretty good. The cost of this is beyond our reach at the moment, which sucks. I should have looked at that before we tried to do this. So now I have to go sell some things. Sure. Sell it all. There we go. And now we can put this back. So we need 1 ram scoop engine and 1 of these. That'll be a little cheaper. Got plenty of titanium. And then our special, this is a special Balter specific module that has extra bonus health, I believe, and maybe bonus projectile defense. So we'll just throw that on there, give her a little more hit points. And there we go. Now she is part of the team. Alright, we're just waiting for this guy to get finished, and we will be on our way. Also, you can see at this point, are we getting any money from our trade route yet? Let's look at our trade route. Alright, so we're making 121 dust off of our trade route. What we want to start doing is pouring a little bit of money into these every couple of turns that we can afford to. And these values will increase over time, and they do increase kind of exponentially. So you'll see as our trade routes get more, well, as they grow and we get more trade routes unlocked, this gets really, really big, and we'll be in a much better place. This is also helping getting these minor civs to give us some of their resources. And we lost another Harashim. Not 100% sure why, but this system's really still very happy, so I'm not too concerned. We have a lot of luxury deposits here. This is going to really keep our approval high. How much of this is going to fall off here in the next little bit? We have 10, 20, 15. So we have about 15 points that are going to fall off. That's going to still keep us above 100, I believe. So this isn't really a critical building. And actually, this is cheaper than this one, right? And they do the same thing? Yeah. So let's get that down, I guess. Plus 10 food per luxury deposit. We have 4, so that's 40 food. And that's a really cheap building as well. And then let's get some flat science. That'll be a good start for this system, and we should be able to fill out the population on it pretty quickly. We may actually have to move some of these guys over at some point, but I'm going to leave them there for now. Alright. I really want to get this ship done, but I'm taking too long on my turns here. Alright, the Argosy is ready for moving. Let's just double check we don't have anything better. 3 ram scoops is probably the best thing we can put on it right now. And we said it was going to take 8 turns to get all the way down to Scorpius. Oh, come on. I hate how sometimes you can't click on a ship, and then if you misclick when you're trying to check out orders, it goofs up. So do we just go ahead and head out? What if I just fly straight there? It only takes 10 turns. Alright, where are we at on our counter downer? We're at 12 turns. 8 turns would put us at 4 turns away, which is about the time frame that we've been settling on these. We could fly to here pretty easily, and then from there we can see whether we want to continue flying all the way through there, or if we just fly straight to here from this spot. So let's go ahead and get moving. This is kind of dangerous with some of the pirates and things around. Especially with the big fleet blockading that system that I did not see until just now. So we're probably going to get attacked, which means we're going to be damaged. But as long as we don't run into another set of pirates, we'll be fine. That's gonna suck. I won't be able to move because it's blockaded. Boy, now would be a really good time to be able to afford this.
You got dust? Hey, let's talk.
But I can't. This is getting out of control, though. They have 10 ships over here now. Yikes. Yeah, we're gonna have to make this war with the Hishu very short-lived before we come back and deal with other things. Crap. Okay, so I'm gonna send 1 probe this way, and then we're gonna use the other one to search one of these. Medium gas, sure. Titanium deposit, alright. And then we're just gonna wait a turn. Because I think it'll be faster to just fly over to this quest marker than it will be to do anything else. Alright. Hostile trace detected. We will have this finished in 2 turns. I'm not concerned. We've recovered probes. And Nerad needs something to do now that we have another barren planet. We actually got it up to happy now. And this is a good spot for these mining. So these are going to go up by another 2. So this is absolutely what we wanted to get done right before we start Tier 3 system development. We're going to get this in 3 turns. And so, yeah, right around the time we get that, we're going to start cranking this stuff out quite significantly. Probably best to just... Oh, we wanted these guys over here for the bonus science. So yeah, we'll leave them there for now. And we're attacked. And we'll retreat. Now, I don't know for sure how this works. Since we had a path traced, it actually let us follow this. A lot of times it'll send you back down the lane you were going down. But the Argosy's in pretty good shape. They won't be able to keep up with us. And so I am going to go ahead and just... Damn it, I misclicked again. Click on there. There we go. And that way they'll just outrun anybody that tries to chase them down. We have 1 probe available again, so I'm going to send it down this way. And you can see the probe has revealed their fleets. Can I see... I can't see their manpower, though. Oh, yeah, we can, right here. Okay. So they have 35 infantry and 12 tanks currently on this system. And it is at 100% of its total defense. We have on our fleet 32 infantry and no tanks currently. This is going to be a little more challenging. Remember, we're going to get another 300 manpower. So we're just going to have 460. So roughly 3 times as amount. So we'll have right around 90 infantry. We do have the technology at this point to start considering this tank stuff, and we have the resources to get up to the damage, which we will likely do. But we won't worry about that until we're right about to attack. Also, this ship is done in 1 turn. Anything else that I need to be concerned about? Hacks are happening, trade routes happening. We can look at the trade routes again. We can't afford this yet, so we'll just keep moving. I have seen this number stay positive more frequently now that we've got trade routes going. I think that's... Ooh. Looks like this is going to be in red player space, which I believe... Do I know who the red player is? We do not know who the red player is at the moment. Coral Reefs. Alright. And we've already resolved that. Our hero with her fleet. I wish we could see how much XP she's gaining per turn. It doesn't show it like it does in Endless Legend when you mouse over her. Even from this screen, you can't see her XP gain per turn, which really kind of is irritating. I'd like to know. But we can count it. So she's at 12. We'll see how much she gets. I don't know if it's related to command points. I know in Endless Legend, the more units that your hero is with, the more XP they get per turn. But we'll see what she goes up by. Oh, I'm sorry. Resource crisis. We're dealing with this nonsense again. Okay. So our bandwidth is going to overload. We can remove one of our things. I guess we can remove encrypt over here for now. Doesn't seem to be doing much good. Let's get our ships moving. We found the planet of Tinoa. Oh, this is timely. We could definitely use plus 20 influence on systems for 15 turns. Yes, please. Minus 10 science isn't going to hurt us much. One downside is we are going to get a bunch of religious political ideology, but I think we can overcome that. The reward is too good. We want to keep these running. More vaulters. And our ship is now completed. A number of other things getting done quite quickly. Let's take a peek at our new system in Aurum. We can see we're already up to 2 population, and almost everything that we queued up is already built. Keep in mind, each one of these systems, as we colonize them, is going to give us anywhere from 10 to 20 extra industry influence, just a lot of resources from the buildings that we have down already. So very excited about how this system is coming along. This building is actually pretty useful, but not until the population gets a little larger. And we do have Hyperium here, so getting the mining tech down at some point is going to be important. If anything, maybe that one will probably grow at least once or twice more before it gets built, so that when it actually goes down, it'll be a significant amount of industry. And we'll just let our hero continue to get that system off the ground, and then right around the time that we're getting that system finished up, we can then jump over to... Ah! You dirty rats. Alright, well... They're everywhere. They took Alcyon too? We could still grab Ibala, but... that system's not nearly as valuable. We could also pay some dust to try to help the Mavros out and take this system. Create a ship with at least 55 offensive power and bring it to this system. We'll get 60 blue cap mold and obtain the miner's sieve. Just out of curiosity, nobody else is ahead of us in terms of this. I will go ahead and throw a little bit of dust into this just so we can get above the line for the next tier. That'll help it happen just a little faster. I don't know that I really want that system now. My plans have been shattered. I thought maybe they would end up taking one of these. I didn't think they would get both of them. There are ways to push them off. There are other systems over here as well. Let's go ahead and search another curiosity over here first. 50 dust and some dust ruins. Let's get over here to the United Empire. I believe that's who this is. Pretty sure I made the United Empire the red player. Even though we haven't met them yet. Oh yeah, we have. I guess. We met them a moment ago when our probe hit their system, huh? We'll just keep launching this probe down this lane so we can maintain vision. And let's get our fancy new ship out and across. This would be a lot easier if we had wormhole tech. One more turn. And I think that's where we're going to wrap up the video today. You guys can just, actually, yeah, just sit there for a minute. Is there anything else going on that we really need to be concerned about? We know what's going on in there, lots of hacking and bad stuff. Not much I can do about that right now. Law-wise, we're really close. Look at this, 170 influence from that one special event that's running for us. This is going to allow us to pacify the pirates for the short term, at least.
Whoa, you've got dust? Hey, let's talk.
We do not want to lay down another system for a turn or two. So I guess that will actually be the way that we wrap this video up today. We will end the turn. And we will pacify the pirates. So first things first, we're going to falsify logs. We're going to hopefully move up.
Whoa, you've got
above.
dust? Hey, let's
Okay.
talk.
So moving into the wary portion above the line did not decrease the cost of anything, which is frustrating. Because what's the point of these lines if they don't actually do anything? I guess they just kind of mark off portions. Like we did go from poor to wary, so that, but wary had no impact. But let's see, what does it say? You have a neutral standing with the pirates. Only nearby fleets will attack if a mark is placed on you. Okay, so that's good to know. So we're not going to be attacked by their ships unless we get a mark put on us. The non-aggression pact is actually a little bit less valuable to us at the moment then. Because unless we have reason to use their portals, which at the moment... Oh wow, this is really under contest now. I don't know that we want to throw our hat in that ring. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of better options, and any options that we do have are definitely going to have sleepers. This is actually, not a very good system, actually. I thought it was good. 5 planets usually means good, but these are not good planets. What does Timos look like? Forest, ice, Arctic, toxic, and ice. Less bad? There is a Terran, a Tundra, an Arctic, and an ice. This is actually probably the best system of the bunch. The other option is we come over here and grab this, but this is a really bad system in terms of what it can actually become. The one nice thing is that it does provide adamantium, which we can start mining. I really just want to take Arcturus away from these guys. Alright, so we have some thinking. I need to think about whether we're going to grab Placidius, which is a better system that has adamantium. What kind of deposit is it? It's just an average. An average deposit here, but a better system. Distance isn't that big of a deal because of our teleporting. This is also an average. This is going to be a hard system to get going. But it is close enough that we would benefit from the trade routes that we could build off of it. That means that we're going to have to come back. Yeah. Unless we take this. I just know that there are going to be a ton of sanctuary cities here. Alright, so if I turn around, now that the pirates aren't going to just immediately slaughter me, it's only going to take me 4 turns to get back here. Alright, we're going to go ahead and do that.
So, what'll it be this time?
I am going to go ahead and pop the non-aggression pact. We've spent all this time trying to get this. I am going to do it primarily because this isn't going to last. We are going to eventually fall below. And this is going to give us 10 turns of neutral damage to our argosy, which can't afford to be attacked right now. We're getting things built little by little. We've got our ships all together now, so we can merge these guys up into a single fleet that has 460 manpower, which is 92 infantry, over 31,000 health, and over 2,000 offensive and defensive capabilities. Our optimal ranges are medium to short range, but we're effective at all ranges because we have split weapons. Do we want to just go ahead and get going on this? I don't have the amount of influence I need to actually declare war, but we can start blockading this system and pushing its defenses down while we wait for the ability to do that. Alright, we're really close to grabbing this as well, so that's really cool. So this is actually a really reasonable place to stop, I think. Again, we're going to continue this series for another 10 to 12 episodes. I do want to get well past at least to turn 60 before we move on. But I think we've demonstrated the things that I wanted to experiment with, primarily the pirate thing, and falsifying logs does not work. At least on hard difficulty,
So, what'll it be
you're
this
not
time?
going to be able to get this moving fast enough to really get anywhere with the pirates. I want to come back and maybe play another game where we do this similarly, but we use the discount and try to just pour some dust into them. That might be a good option to try with the Lumeris, who have a lot of dust in the early game, and see if that route works a little better at getting them to that wary state sooner, and then using falsify logs to just keep you from falling below the line. I think that's a good play. And then on endless difficulty, it may be even harder to do. On normal difficulty, it may be easier to do. So those are things that we'll have to experiment with later on. But for now, this is a good place to wrap up the video. I hope you guys are enjoying the series as much as I am. And if you have ideas for the next playthrough that you want to see, I have a few thoughts on what faction I'd like to try out. And I've been practicing with a few different ones offline. But if you have something specific you'd like to see, let me know, and I will definitely take it into consideration. Until next time, this has been The Nose Plays, and you guys have a great day.